So, I want to start this month with a new topic, something you've probably all heard 1,000 times, but what we call expectation management. And I want to start with just a quick story to hopefully make you laugh. But back when I was in the Army, I will never ever forget a conversation I had with a coworker. And I was very frustrated because a fellow NCO or leader, if you will, was not doing a very simple task that I had asked from him. And I was venting to my coworker about how frustrated I was because I had set the bar so low for him, and because I knew he wasn't a high performer, and even with that, he still couldn't get it accomplished. And I will never forget the response from my coworker of, "Yeah, but you still had a bar." And I said, "What do you mean? I still had a bar. Of course I had a bar, but I lowered it for him because I'm hardly expecting anything from him." And his response was, "Yeah, but you still had a bar. You need to get rid of that bar. You need to get rid of that expectation, and then you won't be disappointed because you'll expect him to accomplish nothing." And so, and it kind of hit me that, oh, there's a difference. You still have an expectation. And even though that's obviously kind of a far fetched story and more just to make you laugh, the point is still, it's very relevant, our expectations. And if we expect something high, and sometimes we can be disappointed, if we keep them realistic, then our expectations are met. So, what does this have to do with being a bold Christian? Well, I think as a Christian, there is some degree of expectation management, and I think it's a little bit, um, I'd say a little bit skewed in the United States. And it's because, for good reason, we are so blessed. We have been blessed in this country, for the most part, to be able to be a Christian and know that freedom of religion, to be a Christian, is protected in our court system. We get to hold our jobs, we get to go to school, we get to raise our children and go to church. We get to do all those things as a Christian and kind of know in the back of our mind that we're free from persecution. And if we ever are persecuted or treated differently because of those religious beliefs, that the court system will protect us. And so we know in other countries that's not the case. We know other Christians, they face torture and prison and other things for speaking out and defending their faith. But it's one of those things that we can't really maybe understand it. We know it's out there, but it doesn't affect us. Kind of that mentality we've talked about already. It's out there, but it's not here, and so it that stinks for those who have to deal with it. But I'm not really worried about it. But I think what we're finding out in the United States is that things are changing a little bit, and especially in Canada, I think in Australia, some of these countries where we were free as Christians to practice and do all these things, we're finding it's not always the case. In Canada, they're not free to go to church, and there are pastors put in jail for continuing to hold church services and preach the word of God. In the United States, teachers are getting put on administrative leave for holding on to Christian principles, especially in talking about the transgender movement and not going along with it and clinging to the religious beliefs. I feel like more and more in the United States, we are seeing that people who uphold their Christian values are finding themselves losing their jobs, losing their paychecks, and struggling for the first time really in this nation. And so others see that and they have a tendency to keep quiet. And of course, you understand it. No one wants to lose their job. No one wants to struggle to pay their bills and raise their families. But at the end of the day, as a Christian in the United States, you have to ask yourself, are you ready to start facing that persecution? Maybe not quite the bodily torture, but are you ready to start doing that suffering that we've read about in the Bible that we know comes with Christianity, but it's never really affected us? And I think that's making it hard for Christians right now to be as bold as they could be, because it's a lot easier to be quiet and feel safe that we'll be, looked over and we'll be secure and be able to keep living that good, blessed life that we've been able to live for so long. But I think we need to start managing our expectations a little bit, because as the Bible, it clearly says that Christians should almost expect to be persecuted and almost expect all the things to go with it that we have read about in the Bible. I mean, the Bible just makes it so clear that being a Christian comes with very real consequences. And just because we've been blessed to kind of be exempt from that and been blessed that being a Christian has been fairly simple in the United States doesn't mean that it will always be that way. So I think maybe this month, take a good look at yourself, look at your life, and ask yourself, what would it look like in the United States, in your job, in your position, to be persecuted for boldly being Christian? What if you did speak out and boldly stand up for your Christian faith and had consequences come from that? Maybe losing your job, um, maybe being put on administrative leave or things like that. Would you still do it? Are you able to do it? Would you have the faith that God would help you find ways to provide for your family and support them, even if you did lose your job, for standing up for your Christian faith and Christian values? And I think it's a good way to start expecting, as a Christian, a little bit of that discomfort that comes with Christianity, and making a conscious decision to be okay with it, and to know that regardless of all those things, whether we lose our jobs, we're still expected to stand by the Word of God. And so ask yourself, are you ready to do that as a Christian? So thanks for talking and tuning in this month, and I look forward to talking with y'all again.